Let's face it, this is the end, in more ways than one. And since the soul is what's on the line here, there's only one question left. Why don't we buy a piece of history? Welcome back to the Trading Desk. My name is Ebube, and this is the Popcorn for Dinner podcast. Here on the Trading Desk, we delve into the nuances of specific events and character motivations on HBO's industry. As a follow-up to the more all-encompassing, detailed breakdowns done by Bankole and Ayo every Sunday night right after the episodes air. This week on Industry, the soul of Pierpoint is at stake, and Eric finds himself in a room with the people whose decisions got it to where it is and might be able to get it out. We're going to parse his decisions as we figure out who he truly is. We're going to look at how the events of this episode might be setting up the season 3 finale, which, by the way, is titled Infinite Largesse, not ominous at all. I'm also not going to be doing this alone because I'm joined by Ebuka once again, who is still recovering from the events of episode 7 and isn't sure which plotline is distressing him the most. But we also have yet another special guest, because with us today is my good friend AJ, who has a wide range of thoughts on this episode and the show as a whole, from its music to its characters, from its settings to its motifs. And honestly, she might be the best person to give us an idea of where Robert is headed this season in the finale and even beyond, as she is a native of the world of healthcare research, where our favorite sad boy is set to apply his sales skills, or lack thereof, next. So, hi people, how are we doing today? Are we ready for this season to end?
No.
Hell no.
Okay, glad we're all on the same page, because this show has been firing on all cylinders this season. I mean, it's amazing at this point. I mean, I remember watching season 1 and thinking, okay, this is good. This is fine. I will be here if they do another season. Then that other season came, and I was like, whoa, what happened? Like, I didn't expect this show to be bad, but I didn't expect it to be this good. Like, what are we doing here? And now, as I've said, in season 3, we're basically at cult classic status. This is fantastic. Yeah, like they've truly earned the primetime HBO Sunday night slot, and it's just beautiful to see, because like a lot of us have been following the show for so long. Actually, AJ, what is your own history with the show? How long have you been watching? You're fairly new to it, right?
Very, very new here. Like a month. Because I love Succession. I think that's like one of my favorite shows. And I would always see industries like Succession. I'm like, that's not possible. Nothing's like Succession. But I ran out of shows like a couple weeks back. And I'm like, okay, let me plug in and see what industry is about. I was a bit slow watching season 1 because it was just like, okay, what are they doing? What is that job? To this day, I'm confused. I don't know what they do. Honestly, I'm like, I like Harper.
You and half the audience, honestly.
Literally. But I feel like I locked in like season 2, like midway through season 2, probably like episode 6. I don't know what happened. But I think it was episode 6.
Yours.
Oh no, we
oh yeah. That was it. And I just locked in. I'm like, okay, this is an amazing show, because it was like more like a small show, but now like HBO on a Sunday, like this is their show, like this is the show. So I'm like, okay, let's see where it takes me. I don't know if they'll go for like 5 seasons, but I'm here till however long they decide to go for.
Yeah, truly. I was actually thinking about that earlier too. I was like, how many seasons can we get out of this? Because I mean, you mentioned Succession, right? They low-key shocked everybody when they came back and they were like, oh, by the way, this is our final season.
Oh my Lord.
Like, there was no preamble. It was just like, oh, Succession is back. Yay. Oh, Succession is ending. Oh my God. You know, it was two sides of one big coin. Whereas something like Game of Thrones, like you've known from times, like, okay, this is going to be the last one. So I don't know how they're going to approach it. I don't know if they're going to do 5 seasons. I don't know if they're going to do 6. Maybe they'll do 4. I think they definitely have more than 4 seasons in them, because these guys really know how to write. And I think in the end, it's a situation where like they're not afraid to write themselves into a corner, like William said, because they have ideas of how to get themselves out of places. So yeah, but speaking of getting people into and out of places, what do we think about Robert's direction in this episode? Actually, AJ, can you tell us a little bit about what you think about what he's doing? Like, what is he really interviewing for, as far as you can tell?
I think it's like a company a research company probably, and they're trying to, cause psilocybin, I think that's like the drug. It's not like fully legal everywhere, but like studies, like it probably works like therapeutically for people like mood disorders and depression and what all sorts. But he said on the show that like, oh, they're trying to get like a funding because the university pulled out the fund, so he's actually going to find that funding for them. But it's just so funny that like it's a drug company and it's Rob. And he just did the
Connection. You'd have thoughts on that.
I feel like knowing the way Rob is and how he was, even when like he was like speaking to clients, I don't know, the client dinners and whatnot, seeing that it's probably going to be client dinners about like a drug, it's like, how far are you going to take it? Are you going to like just like keen on that particular drug and its benefits, or are you going to, oh yeah, like we could go into the bathroom and we could do the whites and stuff. Like, are you going? Like, I'm worried about that boy. And it's funny how you said sad boy. Rob is not sad. Rob is useless, and he doesn't know. Like, I can't like. Sorry, I have to like keep on referencing Succession. You know how like we loved Kendall. Kendall was useless, but we were rooting for him. I cannot root for Rob. That man has no hope.
Oh my god.
So he was like so excited. Like he's like, this is the first time in a long time I'm having expectations, or like I can see that there's going to be a future.
Yeah.
Episode 8, everything is going to tumble down at Rob's expense. I don't know how, but there's no future for my guy. I'm so sorry. Maybe that was too much on Rob.
It was not too much. That was exactly the plot twist I needed. Please continue.
I feel like, and also with Yaz, like Yaz is Yaz. Yaz, she would never change. So I saw the preview, and I think she's going to, I don't know, her and Henry, they're going to do something terrible, and it's going to be at Rob's expense. It's going to be a situation where it's like Yaz sets Rob on fire, and Henry is literally by the corner pouring like the petrol, like, yes, Rob, yeah, you're burning. So like there's literally no hope for him. I don't know if it's going to be like drug related. But I don't know what's going to happen, but there's no hope for him. I don't think it's drug. I just think it's life in general, because I remember in season 2, he also said like is he cursed because people always die around him?
Yeah.
He's not cursed. He's just very unlucky. And I feel like luck is a big component of the show. Like every good thing that happens, yes, there's smart people on this show, but like luck plays a huge role for everyone. And Rob doesn't have luck on his side at all.
Yeah, I mean, Rishi says as much as well. Oh, you know, God. He's like, because Anuraj is like, you're not even a good trader. You're just lucky. He said, what's the difference?
Yeah. Oh my God. This is just heightened my anxiety. This is just heightened my anxiety for Rob, because to tell you how much I feel for Rob, right? How much I love Rob is that.
Yeah, AJ, you may not know this, but like we love Rob on this point. Like we actually not that we kind of just want him to be better, to get better. Exactly. But you're saying that there's no hope for that, so that's interesting.
That's so painful. No. To tell you how much I love Rob is that during the scenes where he's driving Yaz, I watched all those scenes with so much anxiety that something bad was going to happen.
You thought he was going to crash the car or something?
Okay, let me tell you what I went through. I thought he was going to crash the car. Then I thought Yaz was going to run away when he went to get food or something. Then I thought Yaz was going to kill herself. I was just like, please, nothing bad. Can they just be happy? And for you to now, I was almost feeling free that they made it to a good place. And now you're telling me there's no hope for Rob. And we have a bad record with predictions on this podcast, so now I'm scared.
Hold on. Ebuka, are you saying that you're in the Robert and Yaz shipping camp?
Oh my days. Listen, right before this episode, I literally said it on this podcast, I don't want Rob and Yaz to end up together. But now I'm a sucker for a romance scene. Sue me, right? It was cute. Maybe he's going to save her.
She don't want to be saved.
No, let's not even get into Yaz. No.
I mean, we can a little bit if you want.
Like I said, Yaz is Yaz, and Yaz is not a good person.
Wow.
Like, even, like, she's going through stuff. Like, I think I saw something online that said, like, or was it Reddit, or I don't think it was Twitter. It said, like, everyone on this show, they're villains until they're the victims. Right now, Yaz is in her victim phase. Oh my God, my dad. Oh my God, the press, this and that. But it's
Harper.
like, Rob is nice to you. He brought you down to wherever, like, he was driving to, like, okay, you need to leave the house, you're going to be fine. And then she goes, and by the way, like, nothing's going to happen tonight, in case you're thinking, like, da da da. And I'm like,
what a nonsense person.
Like, can you just,
like,
like,
so sad, man. It was so sad.
He's like, we're beyond this game. He's like, what are you doing though? Like, why?
Yeah.
We can't just have a nice moment.
No, she cannot.
In his eyes.
No. And she's not going to stop because, like I was saying, she's a very selfish person. So I feel like in episode 8, because of, like, the pregnant lady that was on the boat, and, like, Rob's godfather, sorry, not Rob, Henry's godfather or uncle, the other guy that,
and Norton,
probably the one that has, like, the press stuff.
Yeah, Norton.
I feel like he really wants Yaz to marry Henry. And definitely. Rob loves Yaz. She doesn't know how much this guy loves her. And I feel like, I don't know. I'm just like, it's over for my boy, unfortunately. And Yaz it's going to be because of Yaz, because she's not a good person. She's always going to choose herself over and over and over again. But I could be wrong.
He's young. Okay, he will learn.
Yeah. Wow.
But you can also die young. You can die young. He doesn't have time.
Oh man. Okay. So let me press it a bit further. How do you then feel about the people who think he should end up with Harper instead?
I'm one of those people. So I feel
no, please.
Nah, this is beautifully chaotic. Please elaborate.
Because I feel like Harper has never really been taken care of, and Rob wants to take care of people. But because he needs therapy, he always wants to take care of people that would literally kill him. Nicole was a terrible person. Yaz is a terrible person. Yeah. But he sees Harper, like, Harper is not a good person. She's a terrible person. Like, point blank, period. But it's like, together, it's going to work. Like, they're like the perfect measure of what each of them need. So I feel like it can work, because it was season 1 when it was just before Riff, and just that little clip scene with them together where he just, like, kisses her and, like, we should go on a date.
That
like,
was nice.
Everyone. That was It was calm. But every interaction with Yaz is always, like, so much tension, so much toxicity. Like, it's not. No.
Because she's trying to be in control of everything, because she feels like everything should be a power move, because everything should be transactional, and she learned that because of her terrible upbringing.
Yeah, but I feel like
Robert takes that as well, because in his own upbringing, he wasn't taught to stand up for himself.
Exactly, always seeking approval. So, oh, this is interesting, man.
Okay.
Anyway,
okay. So with that,
I think you've successfully swayed my mind a little bit. I'll think on that.
I'm glad.
Love to see it. Okay, so with that in mind, right? Is Yasmin going to be okay legally and even mentally? And do we care? Because obviously she has a bombshell information now. We know that she has decided to reveal it. We know how it's going to affect a whole lot of people, because it's essentially going to be her versus the Hanani board. Yeah. And honestly, if she goes towards Muck and actually enters that family, as we think she might, she would have the backing of Muck's uncle in terms of the press. So she might have a chance. It's like the people who are ruining her life might now be the key to saving it, because the people who are supposed to back her are not. Because how can this lady just come and say, yeah, we'll pay for everything, but you have to be the face of the scandal? Like, is that not just callous? Like, how there are levels of being callous, but my goodness, this was crazy. I love the way it was played too. Like, the acting in that scene was great, because there was just no escape. It was all cold, and Denise is just there. She's like completely powerless to stop anything. So What do we make of that? Like, is Yasmin going to be fine, and do we care?
I can't believe I used to think Marissa Bella was the worst actress or actor on the show in season 1.
Too.
And
really,
from season 2 and season 3, I've eaten my words very handsomely. So
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Exactly.
I feel like season 3 is like very Yasmin focused, as it should be. Legally, she's going to be fine because she's a rich girl, and when you're rich, when you grow up in that kind of environment, not anymore. But she attracts what she is because internally, like how she grew up, how she was brought up, like that's a rich girl. And rich people are like always going to be okay legally because I don't know, they're rich, unfortunately.
Resources.
Yeah. Emotionally, she's never going to be okay. I don't know how much therapy she needs, but she's never going to recover from everything that has happened, from like just her career and her family, because like there's no even marrying Henry, that's like the worst thing she could possibly do because Henry is literally her dad. That's literally her dad. Yeah, she said it. No,
yeah,
I think she said it.
It's true. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, okay. Jumping ahead a little bit, before we talk about some of the events of episode 7 and how they might affect episode 8 and beyond. Like I want to talk a little bit about the season 3 trailer, and I love how every episode is just adding context to the things we're seeing in that trailer. Like that's obviously how this stuff works. Like you expect that from a trailer, especially when it's done well. But I feel like this one is so good because the moments that they choose are very, very pivotal, but they don't seem that way at the beginning. And one of my favorite things about this episode is now we know for sure that, okay, everything we haven't seen so far that's in this trailer is going to play a role somehow. There's, of course, the thing I was talking about last week where Robert is saying, join us on the ground floor of what is bound to be a spectacular journey. Now we know that this is him in his new job, right?
Yeah.
Does he go to the US? Maybe. But even if he does, we know he comes back because we also see him in Muck's mansion. And there are lots of scenes in the mansion, in that trailer and in the teaser as well. And we also see a lot of chaos at Pierpoint. We see Rishi basically being done. Like, we'll get to all this like a little bit later, but I feel like mentioning Muck and Yasmin and Rob, this trio from what can only be an inferno at this point, they are clearly a big part of the emotional driving force of this season. And I know that they are all sort of villains. I know you said that everybody in this show is kind of a villain until they're a victim. I feel like Rob might be the only person who has never truly been a villain. Correct me if I'm wrong, though, but
he said yes.
He said yes, please. He's like, he's clean all the hope he can get.
Yes.
Oh my god. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. People rooting for Robert and Yasmin are probably suckers for punishment.
Yeah.
Because I don't see it ending well. I mean, Mark coming to him in episode 5, for example, is like, okay, so like, what's the deal with you and Yasmin? And he's like, we're just friends, we're just flatmates. And then Mark says something along the lines of, I'm in love with her, blah blah blah. And Robert's like, please don't tell her that, like she can't handle it. And he's like, oh, so you do love her? Which, yeah, Robert, you kind of got played there, but I feel like Robert is going to find it harder and harder to hide the fact that he is interested in Yasmin. He tries to hide it from himself. He tries to hide it from the different people who ask him. Funny enough, a lot of people who ask him are also interested in Yasmin, like Muck and Eric. Oh God, Eric. We'll get to Eric. But but in any case, I'm interested in how Robert would take such a crash, because I can only imagine that Yasmin is going to get a lot of attention from Muck in episode 8, and Robert is going to feel like he's on the sidelines, and it's basically like what AJ was saying just now, right? Like this can't go well.
Yeah.
This can't go well. Okay, so looking at the events of episode 7, which and Bankole actually talked about Billions in their review. He was saying that first of all, he's never watched Billions, which how, but he says that people kind of get Billions as this thing that they can compare to industry, which I actually have never seen. I've never found them to be a similar vibe. William said that the description he likes more, even more than the Succession comparison, is that industry is Gen Z Mad Men, which I might kind of hop on that one too, because Mad Men obviously is, an office drama that is also one of the most intense character studies we have ever seen. So I think industry is good at being that, but I think it's cool that industry can draw from all these places and kind of be seen in all these different places too, comparatively, because industry, I think, is just industry. Somehow they've managed to carve out their own vibe, their own genre, and I'm looking forward to seeing how subsequent series actually, take stuff out of industry's path. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. But in terms of Eric, right? Let's talk about his morality a little bit. Let me ask you guys, morality or lack thereof, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay.
When do we think Eric decided to betray Adler?
When he's
surely.
Yeah.
Like when he's beside the new CEO and his mind is running 100 different simulations on how to endear myself to this man, and he's just because he's stuck. That's the most quiet I've ever seen Eric. He's thinking, what can I do to get myself there? What can I do to make sure that I'm indispensable? And then, once he gets that deck, he looks at it and it hits him, right? Like he sees the mistake and he allows it go. Says nothing. A whole bunch of nothing.
So are you saying, are you saying like it was more for endearment with the new CEO instead of for him?
No, so I'm saying like he was thinking in that toilet, what can I do to certify my position with this man? And he saw that he could kill Adler and then position himself as the savior right there. That was when the thoughts came to him, like, okay, this is something I can do.
I feel like that conversation, because I think the CEO said something about like Adler was doing it for himself, and then I feel like that's when the wheels started spinning, and then he kept on.
When he was asking about his shares and stuff, right, like that, right?
Yeah, and then he's like, he saw the mistake because he literally just said I think he said he believes in the trade that works, and he saw the mistake. In a way, that is the trade that works for him. A way out, a way to solidify his place, because
exactly,
it's all about, like, sad to say, he loves his job. It's all about like his place in Pierpoint. It's not his place with the new seat. True.
That's something people are forgetting, right? And like obviously we are all sad that Eric betrayed Adler, but literally this is all Eric has left, right? You don't want to.
This face is like, are we sad?
Are we sad?
No, because
it was a terrible thing to do.
Do we feel bad for Adler?
True, Eric is a wounded lion, but I think Adler plays it well, like the whole being a sick man thing. So it hit some strings for me, But yeah, this is Eric's last thing. He's a wounded lion, so he will fight. And sorry, Adler had to be collateral damage. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's all he had left.
But this was also Adler's last in before he actually succumbed to. He wasn't going to die, but like surely he wasn't going to be able to be Adler anymore, Adler and Pierpoint anymore. So this was his last thing to do. So Eric should have at least sympathized with that fact, but he didn't because he's evil.
Okay, but this is something I find interesting, right? Adler said to Eric, "You betrayed me." He didn't say. He just said, "For what?" Right? And I could turn that question around to Adler as well. Like, bro, you are actually sick. You have a family. Yeah. Why? And Eric asked him earlier.
Why do you want to be here so bad? You can leave. You have a golden parachute.
Because I think those two conversations, the way we've brought them together is literally perfect. Because earlier in the episode, Eric asked him, why? How do you still have the energy for this? And Adler says, what else is there? And then at the end, Eric is telling him, like, bro, you actually have a family. You have a sickness. There are many other things that are not peer point that you can and should focus on peer to peer. Yeah.
And he's saying, what else is there to someone who has lost his family?
So exactly.
I feel like there's a bit of resentment there from Eric, because it's like, how can you say that? Like, what I wouldn't give to have what you still have.
Yeah. Or what you had. Because I feel like with the friendship dynamic, there was also a power play. And it wasn't fully detrimental to Eric, but Ada always used that card when he was able to. And I feel like Eric was, even the way he treated Eric that night when he called Eric out and he was raising his voice, saying, "Oh, like, why are you correcting me? Sorry, why are you like helping me complete my sentences or whatnot?"
Yeah.
It's like, you don't say that to a friend. So Eric was like, you know what, you're thinking of you, because the deal with Mitsubishi, it was going to benefit Adler, and Adler was going to bring Eric along, but it wasn't going to benefit Adler and Eric. It was going to be a situation where it's like, oh, this is working good for me, you can come with.
It would
But
have benefited Eric on Adler's terms, is what you're saying.
exactly. But what with Eric's new deal, I don't even know what that deal is about. I'm so confused about like the
Ali and his guys. Oh my god, man!
Oh my! Do you guys know the meme of like the guy that just walks in? I saw it on Twitter. I'm like,
you know why I hate this show? How silly of me to think Ali was just going to be some random nepo baby.
No,
bro.
literally. I was like, when is this chicken coming home to roost? Because how can Adler bring Ali and then Eric now uses
like.
Nah, I'm so sorry. Mickey and Conrad take a bow, but Adler brought him as his guy.
And this, by the way, is like, for anyone who doesn't know, this is like Mickey and Conrad are, of course, the producers, writers, creators of this show. But this is the first episode that they have directed. So this is their directorial debut, and it's kind of amazing.
Yeah, like, I just want to speak about one thing about the whole like directing. That one scene, the elevator scene with Adler and Eric, it literally looks like he's stabbing Adler behind his back. That was excellent. That was like
the
beautiful.
Same way. Like it's like Bankole said like when they reviewed the episode fully, right? It's like this is the shot that they've had in their minds all season. It's like they've been waiting to like just do this shot. It's like, you know what, you guys, you can have the cookie, you can have the gold star, because it was very, 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 very well done. I'm glad to have seen that, honestly. Wow. Okay.
In the most painful way.
Yeah, like
Eric. I think I kept wondering, like on second watch, where would have been the worst place for Adler to realize? Would it have been in the boardroom, in the lift when he's going down, when he got home? But yeah, they just played it perfectly.
But that gets me though. That's part of what gets me, because it's like Ayo said, he didn't have to realize. Eric decided to do it. Tell Cersei. I want her to know it was me. Like, you could have just let the guy go and think, okay, this was the issue. Maybe I should be with my family. But just as he's leaving, is like, actually, by the way,
I did
it's crazy.
Hail Hydra.
Oh my god. Okay, so here's my next question for you guys. Would the Eric that existed before Yasmin served him a side of abject humiliation with his blue stick have been able to do this? Right?
Oh, 100%.
Because, I mean, I've been asking myself throughout this season, was Eric really always about ethics, as he tells Yasmin in episode 1? Because he says something about, like, you know, when it comes to ethics in this business, my eyesight is 20/20. Even though I have a lot of blind spots. And I remember thinking in that moment, I don't believe you. Like, I actually just don't believe you. You are I'm carrying a baseball bat, so everybody thinks I'm intimidating. And then you're here coming with old school ideologies. You treat everybody like they're disposable. You teach your students that everybody is disposable, but you're 20/20 when it comes to ethics. So I'm confused. Like,
I think you and Eric have a different understanding of ethics. Ethics to Eric means things that won't land me in jail, like insider trading.
Of course.
But everything else.
For sure, but like, so that's the thing. With Eric, that's why I started this with Eric's morality, because Eric's morality is different from Eric's ethics, and the two things kind of are colliding, like episode by episode, because now he's lost his stability in this season and he's trying to get it back. So my thing is like, okay, did even though he has this quote unquote stance on ethics, which even when you look at it just through legalities, I don't fully agree, because I get it. Like, he's a person of color. He's in a space that is dominated not by people of color, and he wants to make sure that he can stay here because this is all that he has. So I understand why he would always want to make sure he's on the right side of the law. Having said that, though, he's not somebody who seems to show compassion like altruistically. I feel like compassion is something that Eric gives when it like benefits him. And I wonder, right, is there something about Eric that was able to do this to Adler because of what had recently happened with Yasmin and how he was now feeling about himself, and how that now, like, how that what she said to him solidified all the self-doubt he's been having this season? Like, would the Eric before that lunch have actually backed Adler to the end? That's what I'm wondering.
I would say the Eric before he met up with Harper. Because I feel like Harper is Eric's daughter. Like, that's like fat. Like, that's like.
I'll get in there soon, but yes, thank you.
Yeah,
you're right.
But it's like everything Harper knows. Like, let's say like Harper had all of this negativity inside her, like Eric brought it out from season 1, where he's like, I know you can do it, do whatever it takes, do it, and she'll go through the back room, the illegal room to get it done. Like, he's the reason why Harper feels like, okay, if she does this, she would excel. So he sees Harper doing this to her one friend, her only friend, the only person in the world that cares about her. And he probably, sometime during that night, he's like, wait, should I really care about my friend? And that's why he did it. I feel like it always boils down to Harper. That's why I feel, I don't know.
I think you guys are giving Eric too much credit, man. I think season 1, episode 1, Eric would have done this to Adler.
Would have done this, right?
He's just never had the opportunity to be so close to the C-suite, man. Like, Eric could be CFO by the end of this whole takeover, right? He will have a series. Yeah. And I just think this entire show has been about opportunity and how they all, dive when they see an opportunity. And Eric, I don't think is any different. I think everything that has happened since the show has started has shown you that, okay, he might waver and he might go through things, but deep down, he's still that killer. He's still a killer. He showed us in this episode that if he sees a drop of blood and an opportunity to rise up, he's going to take it. And Adler had the best response for what? I don't know, man. Chaos is a ladder, bro. Like, I'm going up.
But he's never been this bold about it, though. That's my thing. Because, like, to use his diagnosis against him at that point was
like...
like...
opportunity. He's never had the
opportunity.
Are
you sure?
I'm telling you. Because, remember, I don't remember exactly the scene, but Eric has expressed annoyance that he was the one who hired Adler. And Adler... Yeah. I don't remember exactly what he said, but trust me, I've worked with people who say these things, like, as a joke, but it's burning them deep down when things like this happen. So
why was he crying when Adler told him
that he was sick?
He was crying. I'm like, why are you crying?
Of course you care for your friend when they tell you you're dying. Like, someone I could meet today could tell me they're dying and I'll still cry for them. Like,
if he was a real hater,
very emotional.
If he was a real hater, he would smile and be like, "That's so sad." He's not a real hater.
Damn, that's crazy.
So maybe that's the story. Maybe it's not even about hate. It's just about opportunity and ambition. They're all slaves to another person's ambition, as Michael Stone says from Barclays.
And that's the thing. Ambition is the theme of this episode at its core. Like, everybody is trying to reach for something higher in this episode, whether it's Eric, Adler, Wilhelmina, Tom, the CEO, Harper and her short, Petche just trying to make sure that she's not in bed with the wrong person, literally and figuratively, apparently. Austin and Rob, of course. And here's the thing, right? Part of the reason I want us to think about this is because this Eric is awake. It's like, ever since he was like, a fucking list. Like, ever since that moment in episode 6, he has been awake. And I think that's why I'm wondering if there's a difference between the Eric before then and after them. Because it's like, this guy's just like, you know what, I'm done. No more
Yeah,
wallowing.
true.
No more being drunk all day. I think it's time for me to win.
I think I see the connection that you've been alluding to. So he sees Harper do something like that, and he's like, one, fuck, I've been sleeping. Two, fuck, I've lost my hunger because look at this young pup doing. Because I've always known that his only anger at Harper, even him bringing up Yaz, was just his own insecurity at how she outsmarted Pierpoint. Because he doesn't give a fuck
Which is
about
what
Harper and
Rishi
Yaz.
told him. Yeah.
Exactly. He doesn't give a fuck about Harper and Yaz's friendship. He only brought it up because he was like, fuck, that's annoying that you could be so sharp. So yeah, you're right. I think he's woken up now and he's like, okay, this is my last play.
And it brings me to what I want people to truly consider, which, actually is along the lines of ideas I've been alluding to all season, not even just in this episode. How long will fans of this show continue to emotionally bankroll Eric's hypocrisy? Because I've said it before, and I've said it again. He created Harper. He told her everything she thinks about herself is true, but everything she says to him in that conversation in episode 6 is also true, as is everything Rishi says to him in episode 4, right? Eric is the biggest hypocrite in this show in a lot of ways, because he does it like it's not, bro. I know Eric is too smart to not have self-awareness. So I know on some level he is definitely fully knowledgeable and attuned to the fact that Harper exists directly because of what he taught her. She said in episode 6, you taught me that everyone can be collateral. Everyone can be used as a means to an end. And then I enact your philosophy and you have the gall to come here and tell me I'm a bad person. Come on, bro. Now he's doing the exact same thing to Adler.
30 minutes later.
Literally.
Like, wow. Come on. It's
Adler
wild.
called him a loyal lieutenant. That's peak, man. To get stabbed like that. One thing I'll say about Eric, though, actually not Eric, Ken Leung, is that I actually think this might be his Emmy episode, and Mickey and Conrad helped as well. But his face throughout that episode at various points, when he gets in the meeting, his shyness when they call on him, his laugh when Wilhelmina gets told to shut up, how he's processing what Adler is saying when Adler is telling him, when I become CFO, blah blah blah. His face when he's not all the way with Adler's plan in the boardroom, and then everything he does when they try to pin the ESG failure on Adler. He's just going from left to right. The wheels are turning, and he's now realizing, okay, unfortunately, it's me or him, and I need to fuck him. So yeah. Shout out Ken Leung.
Shout out Ken Leung. And William, who was on the episode 7 breakdown with Bankole and Ayo, actually had an interview with Ken Leung that everybody should definitely read. That's going to be in the description and in the show notes. Ayo actually said that this is the worst betrayal in this show. Do you guys agree? Like, worse than Harper versus Yasmin, Harper versus DVD, any of the other betrayals you can think of. Like when Eric betrayed Adler is the worst.
When Ayo brought that up in the episode, I couldn't even believe it even took 2 seconds to think about it. This is by far the worst betrayal we've seen on this show.
Yeah. Like, it's using his health? No.
Exactly. And now he can't come back. He can't even work somewhere else. This is
like William
bad.
said, Eric, like this is literally Adler being put to pasture, because for him to work anywhere else, he's going to need a clean bill of health.
Exactly.
And I don't know how he's going to get that. So basically, he's doomed to not work again. But speaking of people whose positions are in danger, how much trouble do you guys think Harper is in?
Zero.
Otto Austin is waiting with Koboko.
No, I guarantee.
Simply unconscionable. I can't be having that.
Wow, okay. AJ, how come?
Otto is going to tell her, don't do that again. But I think I want you to be... No. I like you. I like what you did. Because he's like, you're one of us. You're a bandit. He loves the kind of person Harper is, not Petra. Petra plays by the book. And I don't think Otto wants that. So Harper is going to win. It's going to be a situation where it's like Harper has her... I don't know if Otto is going to kick Petra out, but Harper is going to still have like her hedge fund, whatever. and Eric is going to be CFO of Pierpoint, and that's going to be the baseline for season 4. That's why I feel, but like, we'll see.
Okay, let me say something right about this whole Harper thing. One thing I'm gonna say is that I've seen a lot of chatter on the internet. People complain when episodes have little Harper. I'm going to take a very bold position, very hot take. I don't think Harper is as central to industry as people think she is. The story of
Oh
industry
no,
and what they're trying
Yeah,
to say, I don't
it's
think
more
she's
than
as
her.
central to it. Yes. And then the second thing I'm going to say is
no.
that nothing, one of these things is not going to end well. Eric is not going to become CFO. Pierpont is going to be safe, and Harper is going to have a hedge fund and be good. So one of these things are good, because the only reason I say so is because Mickey and Conrad have given us hints onto what season 4 is going to be, and I think they mentioned
Really?
there was that film they mentioned, Michael something, but in England. Oh God, what is it? Crap. Michael Clayton, I think, is the name of the film, but
Okay.
in England. And Michael Clayton is a thriller or crime film about a fixer who uses knowledge and connections to benefit his clients. And one day he's tasked with reining in a lawyer who has a nervous breakdown over a multi-billion-dollar case. So I just see like this season ending in some sort of crisis. So I want to see where that goes at the end of the season.
I think it's Rob's crisis, and Harper and Eric are going to be good. I don't know. I just have a strong feeling about it that like Eric is going to be. I feel like at the end, okay, yeah, maybe not Harper being the center of the show, but I feel like Pierpoint is, and at the end of it all, like I don't know, like I'm guessing Pierpoint is going to go down, and Eric is going to be going down with Pierpoint, but Harper is like Kendall Roy. Climb, climb, climb.
Mm.
You see, like I said, Rob is not like Kendall Roy because Rob doesn't climb. Harper climbs, but
Okay.
Rob
everything
is
comes
free.
tumbling down.
Robbie is a
Okay,
free elf.
okay. So I feel like Harper has just started climbing. She needs to get to the top, and I feel she's going to get to the top with Otto. But Eric is more of a situation where it's like he climbs, and as soon as he gets there, he's gonna fall. So I feel like
What
the crisis is Rob. I don't know, but I don't think it's Harper. Like Harper is good, and I feel like okay, maybe she's not the core of the show, but she's somewhat the heart of the show. Like I started watching Industry because I saw that little black girl. Not gonna lie, not because oh little black girl. Like I want to see
Even though her
black
braids were
people
not making
lead.
sense in those early
Oh
days.
my lord! I prayed for my sister. I said I do not want to see these braids anymore. She looks so nice in season 2 with her like natural hair out, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I just like rooting for black women that are not. They don't have to be good. They don't have to be the best person on the show. They can be
yeah,
terrible. So seeing a terrible black woman like this, I was like, yeah,
yeah.
I root for you till the very end. Even if you fall, I'll fall with you. That's just me though. So
Harper's got a strong fan base.
she
I
does.
honestly, I'm very strong in my belief that Otto has Kane for Harper. I do not believe he's good.
I'm
Everyone
looking forward
seems
to
to
seeing which
say,
one of you is right.
yeah, everyone seems to say he's going to kick Petra out. I just feel like Otto, I'm happy to be wrong. Like, that's the business.
Because
But yeah, Otto
even like
has
the
serious.
personality match, like I don't think Otto wants to work with a person like Petra. The only reason why Otto came to that room was because of Harper.
Yeah.
And like he didn't ask he did I don't think he called who was Petra's partner again? What's her name? Nicole? No,
Anna
not
Gehring.
Nicole.
And
Yeah,
again,
Anna.
yeah.
He didn't call Anna to be like, oh, like, how's your girl, Petra? He called Jesse and said, tell me about Harper. He likes
Yeah,
Harper. He's not
Okay.
going to let her go. Maybe with
that's true.
warning, but I don't think he's going
Yeah,
to let her
maybe we'll give
go.
it a warning.
Okay, okay,
Interesting.
that's fair. Yeah, all these rich people, as we said, many of them are the same. Muck has a way he looms over episode 7 in the Robert and Yaz storyline. I remember there's one point in the episode after she cuts herself that she says, Henry got hard when I cried too, which wild, okay,
Oh my lord.
wild. But but that tells me even more about how that whole thing kind of has to come to a bit of a close, or at least some kind of stopping point where we can actually stop and evaluate it and be like, okay, this is how we got here. This is what this relationship means for each of these three characters: Muck, Yasmin, and Robert. So having said that, and also thinking of directions that people are going, for some reason, Industry is now a show where people feel the need to make death predictions. I don't know if you guys have seen all the death predictions this week. People are saying
I have not.
Harper is going to to get killed by Boston. People are saying that Rishi is going to die because Vinay is going to finally catch up with him. Which honestly, I don't know about die, but Vinay is definitely catching up with him. I know that one can just stay loose. I feel like if anything, Rishi might end up leaving Pierpoint. Because I just have this feeling that Harper is not going to be able to give him the safety net he thinks he has. And then of course there's some people are saying that Adler might actually end up dying. Some people are saying that Robert will end up dying somehow, or Yasmin too. I'm not sure. I mean, there's so many themes here where and all these motifs, like things like patricide, things like red wine, things like certain kinds of music. They're just all these relationships. They're kind of coming to a head in this episode that actually is so packed that it's hard to tell where they're actually going to start. Like, I talked to Bankole about the episode itself and where it might be going, and essentially it's like we're coming out of it saying paging Dante, we are in 8 out of the 9 circles of hell. And I'm wondering, like, this, like, if you look at it through that whole Dante's Inferno thing, based on what Bankole has put in my head now, I'm wondering which of the circles of hell are we not in? Like, which one are we safe from? And another thing he actually brought up to me was this idea that, like, there's a question of, can a misandrist also be a misogynist? And he said that this was his own question, like when he came out of looking at episode 8, and it was like, this question relates to a certain character in the finale. So it's like, who is that character? So now I'm wondering, it's like, okay, what can I expect here? Oh, you do already?
I'm gonna guess that it's Yasmin.
Me too. Straight up. Straight up.
You guys really don't rate this babe
at all. Because pause. Let's go back, because I'm new. Like I said, let's go back to season 1 and season 2, where like the new grad walks up to her and said, as a woman to woman, I think I was assaulted. And she says, oh, by like Rob's mom, cougar. I don't know what to call that lady. I don't know what to call that lady.
Crazy.
But then she mentions the lady's name and she goes, are you sure? Like, what is wrong with you?
Yasmin isn't good at her job, but she calculated the AUM and was like, hey, you better make sure before you say what.
No, she's
Oh, wow.
That's my guess though, but I don't know. Who could it be? What do you think?
I'm gonna say though, like, I definitely feel that vibe of death in the season finale. Like, I've seen the trailer and I don't know. I'm happy to be wrong, but there's a couple words and the way the castle looks and the dinner and the suits and the candles, I don't know, man. It's all looking a bit gothic.
Yeah, maybe. It reminds me of season 4 of You, Loki.
It reminds me of that one episode in Succession where they went to I don't know where they went to, but like the
Turnhaven, the season 2 where they went to the Pierce's house.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? The castle scenes remind me of Spencer, the Diana film from 2017, and that might be Yasmin's life now. So
LOL. Oh my god. Yes. Wow. Okay. So I guess there are only so many places we can run as far as this episode is concerned. But thanks again to everyone for listening this far. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for asking us questions. Thanks for tweeting. Thanks for your takes. There's actually one person who left a comment on the podcast. I was saying that they don't need to watch anything anymore. That apparently they just come. But I should read this out word for word. Okay, so I've been avoiding this review for a while, but between my 60-hour work week, and nursing school, I truly have no time to watch TV. You guys do such a great job of capturing shows on television. I just listen to the podcast and I never actually watch the shows. Yes, I'm doing this wrong. Yes, this defeats the purpose, but come and beat me.
Oh.
I was like, okay, well, we're not going to beat you. We're actually very grateful. I definitely appreciate you liking the podcast enough to not feel the need to watch the shows, though we definitely still encourage you to watch the shows because the shows are great. But yeah, we've been getting a lot of that kind of energy from a lot of people on the internet lately, and I just wanted to let you all know that we're very grateful, and we're looking forward to how this season ends, even though we do not want this season to end. It's always great when good TV still is able to surprise you. Like, this show is finding new ways to be good, and honestly, maybe that's just industry genre. There, I said it. That is the new genre of industry. So yeah, catch us next week where we will be doing a season retrospective, looking at everything all together, and we're going to be looking at episode 8 in great detail, more so than we have been so far on the trading desk, and we'll also be joined by another special guest. So till then, have a great weekend, and definitely catch Bankole and Ayo once they review episode 8.